there. I am so glad you're here. Let's talk about the Park the Skill method. This is the foundation of how I teach parents to really understand toddler behavior. Now, if this is the very first video that you've landed on, I recommend just going back and watching the first video in this series. It'll give you the big picture of what can-do skills are and why they matter. And then for today's video, it's gonna make everything make so much more sense. So I'll link it here and then also down in the description. Okay, let's dive in. First, I want you to pretend you're wearing glasses right now. And these glasses are the glasses that most of us were handed and say things like, my toddler is naughty, my toddler is defiant, they're manipulative, they're ignoring me. That's the lens we've been taught to see behavior in our toddler through. They're called our behavior glasses. Now I want you to take those glasses off. Go ahead, set them aside. And now I want you to reach in your pocket and pull out a different pair. And these are going to be your skill-based glasses. And through these, you are going to see something completely different. Behavior isn't defiance. Behavior is actually communication. And behind every meltdown, every tantrum, every power struggle, every no is actually a skill that's either missing or still under construction. Those old glasses fog you up. They distort what's really going on with your toddler. But your new glasses, they are clear. And now you can actually see and understand what's happening beneath all of your toddler's behaviors. Here's how I explain it. Imagine that your toddler's brain is a giant parking lot. At first, it's wide open. There's no lines, there's no signs, there's no assigned parking spots. But every time we repeat an action, it starts to paint some lines and it starts to shape the lot. So reading a book together over and over, that paints a few lines. Showing them love and hugging them, that paints even more. Slowly, their brain begins to put some structure in place, and now it's starting to look like a parking lot with lines. By around 18 to 24 months, those lines start turning into assigned parking spots. And those spots are what I call the can-do skills. So there's a spot for emotional regulation, a space for problem solving, a space for resilience, a space for frustration tolerance, a space for independence. Now, I want you to think of all behaviors as the cars. For example, your toddler is feeling frustrated and they want to hit, and out comes the hitting car. So it's zooming around the lot, but it doesn't know yet that it's supposed to park in the assigned spot that says emotional regulation. And here's where parenting often goes sideways. We might say, no hitting. We might yell. We might use a timeout. But all that does is stall out the hitting car. It doesn't tell it where to park. But when we use play to teach what to do with that frustration, how to pause, how to process, how to respond, well, what we're doing now is we're starting to lay down a path that leads that hitting car straight into the parking spot of emotional regulation. That's how the brain learns. Repetition, connection, and play begin to create that pathway. This is why you might see like a 6, 7, or even 8-year-old with behaviors that you don't like. Maybe it's constant meltdowns, or maybe it's impulse control, or maybe it's reactions that are really big to little problems. It's not because they're bad kids, and it's not because you did anything wrong. It's because some of those cars never got parked in the right spot when they were toddlers. And when cars don't know where to go, the lot gets jammed up. They start stalling out and running out of gas in different spots. Here's the good news. The brain can still change. That's what neuroplasticity is. It just means that the brain has the ability to rewire. It can learn new habits and it can create new routes for the cars. But here's the catch. The longer those cars have just been circling and stalling out, the more work now it's going to take to repaint the lines and give them a clear spot, because now we have to tow out the cars that have stalled out before we can start parking new ones. That's why toddlerhood is such a powerful time for us as parents to start parking these skills. The lot is still open, the spaces are easier to see, and that's where your power lies. Now, here's the part that changes everything. The cars, they don't just park themselves. Kids don't figure out how to do this on their own. We have to guide them. And the way that toddlers learn best isn't through timeouts. It's not through punishments. It's not through lectures, over-explaining, talk therapy. It is through play. Play is the GPS of the toddler brain. Every time you repeat a skill through play, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's taking turns or waiting, calming down, trying again, you begin laying down that route. So the behavior car knows where to park. And in brain science, there's a saying, what fires together, wires together, meaning that every time you connect with your toddler and play, you're wiring their brain for those can-do skills that they're gonna need for their life. Remember, it's things like the emotional regulation, problem solving, flexibility, and independence. That's what the Park the Skill method is all about. It's changing the way we see behavior and guiding our toddlers' brains to park the right skills in the right spots. So here's my question for you. What if the very behaviors that overwhelm you the most right now are actually showing you the skills that your toddler is waiting for you to help them build? That's exactly what I'll show you in the next video in this series, where I'm going to walk you through my Park in Practice response. It's the step-by-step way to guide your toddler in those everyday moments. So if you don't want to miss out, make sure you hit subscribe and tap the bell so you'll know when it's live. And if this message resonates with you, will you give it a thumbs up, please? And then maybe share it with another mom who's struggling and you think this would really help her out. So I'm so glad you're here. I'll see you next time.